Hey, it's Joshua, room 11. Last room, the greeter routed around a clerk who died. But what about when the clerk is perfectly fine and the thing she calls for help is the one that's sick? Because that is how healthy systems die. Not from their own failure, but from catching one from someone they depend on.
A reader wants a rare book, so the clerk phones the central archive across the country. Normally, it answers in a blink. But today the archive is drowning, and it simply does not pick up. So the clerk waits, on hold, line open, doing nothing. The next reader needs the archive too, so the next clerk is also stuck on hold, and the next. Within minutes, every clerk is frozen, holding a dead line, and the whole desk, which was perfectly healthy, goes dark. Read that again. Your desk did not fail. It caught its death from the archive by waiting politely. That is a cascading failure, and it is how one sick service drags a dozen healthy ones down with it. Still the wing about systems talking. The greeter protected you from your own dead servers. This room protects you from the ones you call, from letting a single slow dependency hold all your hands hostage. And the cure is a set of small, stubborn reflexes. First reflex, never wait forever. Give the archive a few seconds, and if it is not answered, hang up. That deadline is a timeout, and it is the difference between a clerk who is busy and a clerk who is lost. Second reflex, if the call fails, try again, but gently, not instantly, and not forever. Wait a moment, then a longer moment, then longer still. That growing pause is backoff, and it keeps your retries from becoming a stampede on something already struggling. But timeouts and retries still let every clerk keep dialing a number that is clearly dead. You need a reflex that says, stop, and it is the oldest trick in your own house, the fuse in the wall. When the archive has failed enough times in a row, you trip a breaker. You stop calling it completely, for a while. Every request that would have gone there fails instantly instead, without a clerk ever lifting the phone. And that one move heals two things at once. Your clerks stop freezing on hold, so your desk stays alive, and you stop hammering the archive, so it finally gets the quiet it needs to recover. A circuit breaker. So that is the circuit breaker, and it lives in three states. Closed, the normal state, calls flow through. Open, tripped, every call fails fast without trying. And after a cooldown, half open. You let exactly one call through as a test. If it works, you close the breaker and life resumes. If it fails, you snap back open and wait again. What it really does is convert a slow, hanging failure into a fast, clean one. A hang holds your resources hostage. A fast failure hands them right back. And when the breaker is open, you do not just throw an error. You fall back, return a cached answer, a sensible default, a polite try again later. You degrade gracefully instead of collapsing. Here's the keeper. Never let a slow dependency hold your resources hostage. Bound every call with a timeout. Retry the transient gently with backoff. And when something keeps failing, trip a breaker, fail fast, stop hammering it, and let it heal. Say the heart of it. A fast failure you control is far better than a slow one you do not. And when you must fail, fall back to something graceful, so the whole never dies for the sake of a part. The labels are the stickers, timeouts, retries with exponential backoff and jitter, a little random spread, the circuit breaker, a bulkhead walling off one pool of resources so a single dependency cannot drain them all, and the fallback. Most of it lives in your code, and the AWS SDK already retries with backoff for you. So weigh the two reflexes, because they are opposites. Retry says, try again, it was probably a blip. That is exactly right for a transient glitch, a dropped packet, a 1-second hiccup. The breaker says, stop trying, it is clearly down. That is exactly right for a real outage. And here's the trap. Retry a hard down service and you pour load onto something already drowning. A retry storm that turns a stumble into a catastrophe. Retry the blip. Break on the outage. Backoff and a breaker together tell them apart. So the exam shows the symptoms. One slow downstream service is hanging every thread and taking the whole app down. Timeouts, so calls give up, and a circuit breaker, so they fail fast. Occasional blips causing the odd error? Retry with backoff. Your own retries amplifying an outage into a meltdown? Exponential backoff, jitter, and a breaker to choke off the storm. And a minor feature must not be able to break the core page? Wrap it in a fallback and a bulkhead so its failure stays in its own lane.
Your turn. Out loud or in your head. I'll wait. A product page that calls a recommended for you service. That service goes down and starts timing out. Right now, the whole product page hangs and fails with it. How do you keep the product page fast and working, even while recommendations is completely dead?
Wrap the recommendations call in a short timeout and a circuit breaker. The moment it trips, the page stops even trying and instantly skips that section. No clerk left on hold. And fall back. Show nothing there or a generic cached list and render the rest of the page fast. Put recommendations in its own bulkhead so it cannot drain the page's resources. The core never dies for a flaky extra. So that is the breaker, the fuse that stops one failure from becoming every failure. Bound the call, retry the blip, break on the outage, and fall back with grace. And hear this whole wing finish its thought. The queue let parts wait for each other. The greeter let them stand in for each other. The breaker keeps them from dragging each other down. One rule, 3 shapes. No single part is ever allowed to be the whole story. One breath to seal it. Bound every call with a timeout. Retry the transient gently with backoff. Never wait forever on something that may be gone. When it keeps failing, trip the breaker, fail fast, stop hammering it, and let it heal. Then fall back to something graceful. A fast failure you control beats a slow one you do not. That single instinct is what keeps one stumble from taking down the world.
That is the breaker, the fuse that keeps a small fire from burning down the house. 11 rooms down. I'm Joshua. I'll see you in the next one.